Welcome to the Y Connect podcast. As the heartbeat of the community, the Y is a connector where people of all ages and walks of life come together to elevate their health, wellness, education, and essential life skills. Hear the stories of impact and join the authentic conversations where together we'll discover the journeys and pathways people take to connect through the Y. Now your hosts, Zarina, Robert, and Allison.
Hello, beautiful friends.
Great Friday.
Yes.
Great Friday.
Awesome.
I'm going to second that. It's been a week. It's good to see you guys.
It really is. It really is. And thank you for that accolade on Tuesday. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
At the conference.
You deserve it.
Very much appreciate it.
That's very sweet.
That was fun. And that's where we had all of our staff get together, our full-time staff. It was the first time we'd had all of our staff, including our early learning staff. It was quite exciting. But today's episode is focused on the word volunteer. And so we're gonna talk about that. So let's go ahead and get started. Did you know that since 1858, the Y has been serving the ever-changing needs of our community? And while the needs of our community have changed during those 600 and 165 years, what hasn't changed is the impact that volunteers make every day. One of the most remarkable examples of that happens every week in Cobb County. A core group of volunteers led by Gayle Battersby, the Community Engagement Director at the McCleskey Family YMCA, brings groceries and resources to more than 700 families each week at a variety of locations, including schools, churches, and residential facilities. Joining us today to share the power of this work is Gayle, a veteran leader of the Y for more than 40 years. And in 2022, she was named by YUSA as an anti-hunger all-star. Joining Gayle are two key volunteers. Kim Harrison, she was a teacher for 30 years, and after retiring, she joined the McCleskey Family Y Community Engagement Board. And since that time, she's been instrumental in spearheading food insecurity work at two Cobb County elementary schools, Brumby Elementary and Sawyer Road Elementary. Along with Kim is Chris Hartley, owner and executive producer of Angel Fish Productions. Chris is also a member of the McCleskey Family YMCA Community Engagement Board. She is an Emmy award-winning producer who believes in the power of asking the right questions to bring an idea to life. She has more than 20 years of experience, including network and public television, animation and live action productions, studio management, and running her own business. Combining her professional talents with her role as a volunteer, Chris has produced a number of videos for the Y, including the work of the McCleskey Family Y. Thank you all for being here. What a great group.
Yes, welcome.
Very much so. I'm very much looking forward to this day. I think we're gonna learn a lot today. Gayle, I'm gonna begin with you.
Yeah.
To provide some context for our listeners, would you mind sharing a brief overview of what you and your group of volunteers do every week throughout the community?
I would love to. We get to serve 750 to 900 families every single week. And how we do that is we do 2 food distributions that we do drive-through. And one is at Brumby Elementary, and then the other one is at Green Acres Church. Both of those, we serve around 300. Families at those. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays, we have the privilege of serving 4 apartments. And we have just added, thanks to our volunteer, Kim Harrison, we've just added Sawyer Road, where we do that once a month. So in total, sometimes we serve up to 900 families. But we couldn't do it without the 2 wonderful ladies you see here and another 30 volunteers that help out. Without them, that's why after COVID, some of the food pantries closed because they couldn't find the volunteers. And we're doing something special because we have some of the same volunteers from March of 2020 still with us. We have a core group of 30 volunteers every week.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent work. Excellent.
Yeah, and we served, believe it or not, last year it was over 1 million pounds of food, and we've partnered with the Atlanta Community Food Bank to make this happen.
Wow.
Tremendous.
So, yes.
Did I say 1,000 pounds of food? It's 1 million pounds of food. Yeah,
Oh,
let's
my
get that
goodness.
straight. 1 million pounds. Quite a difference. I was never good at math. Never.
That's right. That's a big difference. So Gayle, Kim, and Chris, thank you guys so much for all that you do for our community. My question is for Kim. So Kim, as a fellow educator, I'm inspired to hear you got engaged in this work after retiring from education. How did your experience as a teacher influence your decision to get involved as both a Y board member and a weekly community engagement volunteer?
Well, I'll tell you a little background. When I retired, I knew I needed to keep moving. So what better place to join to exercise as I joined the Y. And at that time when I joined the Y, they were having their Y Matters campaign. I heard then in your classes that you would go to, the instructor would talk about why we're collecting, donations and those type of things. And I was impressed by what all the Y does. So I was active in the Y campaign. And from that, I was asked to join the board. And as I came on the board, we were making goals, setting our goals, what we wanted to be involved in. And one of our fellow board members sent out an email and asked who would be interested in learning about food insecurities. So I thought, I really wanted to work in my area. I thought these food insecurities would probably take me downtown Atlanta, that area. So when we met, she started talking about where we needed, and it was 3 miles from my house. It wasn't downtown Atlanta. It was where I could walk to. Then it became personal. I couldn't leave that. Kids were coming to school that needed food, that didn't have food to go home to. So that's how I started and became involved and got with Gayle, got with our leaders at McCleskey, and we just took it from there.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Really amazing work. And, pointing out the fact that this was happening down the street, not far from you,
Right.
And the impact that you're making in your local community is profound. My question is for Chris. Chris is a volunteer and a full-time storyteller. We'd love to hear about your experience as well and why you got involved as a volunteer.
Yes, I, got involved. I was with Adult Swim for about 14 years and resigned at the end of 2021 and had been at McCleskey since about 2001, and knew of volunteer opportunities, but never had the opportunity. It was always one of those things of wanting to get more involved as a volunteer. But as an executive, head of production there, mother of 2 young children, wife, I never could do it, never could fit it in. So once I resigned, volunteering was a big priority for me. And so I got online and saw the Brumby opportunity. And that was one of the first things I did. I think it was the MLK service. That Tuesday was the first thing I signed up for and showed up that Tuesday at Brumby. It's, I think, 5 minutes from my house, similar to Kim's experience. It was one of those things of, wow, this is just right here. The needs are right here in the community. And I got over there, and resigning from, my position, going back to being an entrepreneur and storyteller, the goal was getting into serving the community and telling stories to make an impact. And, the first step for me was really, as they say, when you kind of have that big job, it was, at first I kind of had to do some, self-healing. And that experience of step one for me was, okay, I'm going to go on Tuesday and I'm going to help out at Brumby. And I didn't realize how much that healed me. And I think it's something that you don't know until you start going and you step into that. And it was that little step for me. It was something I could commit to every week. I would show up. I had it on my calendar, and it was just the something of the power of people, and that group, as Gayle said, it's a solid group of really strong, committed individuals that work together. They are there and they know their roles. They look out for each other. They know when someone doesn't show up, they reach out. Why is this person not here? It was something that I could look forward to every day. I didn't have a staff. I didn't have to check my email. It's like I came in, it was like, what do you need me to do? I just need to put this stuff in a bag and then I need to put it in a car. Right. That's all my brain power could handle that day. But it's something about working with other people and then to stand there and realize you're really helping others. There's power in that. And it was, not only was I helping others, but it really helped me. So it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that vulnerability piece too, and the community piece. I think that's what I've been struck by since I joined the Y 4 years ago, watching Gayle and your core group of volunteers. What you create every day is this sense of belonging among each other, not only serving the community, but serving each other. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Absolutely. And Chris, Gayle, and Kim, I do want to applaud you early. I know that this episode is not over yet, but I want to give you your flowers now. The fact that you find healing in the work that you do speaks volumes. I think each and every one of us that work at the YMCA, we're here for a reason, and we're here for that reason, to serve others. And so to hear that from a volunteer and the personal gratification that you receive, that healing effect that you receive for helping others is tremendous. Gayle, I'm back to you. Can you please tell us about why your volunteers are so important to this work? And if someone listening wanted to get involved, how might they best get connected?
Great. I'll answer the second question first because I'll forget it. I'm over 50 and it might happen. So it would be through Volunteer Matters. We list all of our volunteer opportunities for all of Metro Atlanta, not just ours, on volunteermatters.org. And so you can go ahead and look at that. That is on our website. So just go to the Y website, look for Volunteer Matters. It also shares to look at volunteering in your community. So that's where you get involved, or you're welcome to email me at gayleb, Gayleb, at ymcaatlanta.org. Now to the important question is, why are our volunteers so important? Well, they're actually our secret sauce. They're what brings our program to not just serving food. We serve love and hope, and we give compassion. We make every individual that we have the opportunity to serve feel special, instead of like they're going through the food line and we're handing it out. We don't hand out food, and our volunteers all know that. We have an opportunity to serve a family, to make a difference in their life, even for a short amount of time. And so our volunteers, without them, first of all, we couldn't do the program. I wouldn't have the budget to be able to do the capacity that 30 to 40 volunteers do a week. The second part is each individual comes with a servant heart, and they do more than what's expected. Sue, who you see in the video right now, she'll go to Publix and she picks up so our families have special goodies. Fran, who you see in the video right now, she has her whole garage turned into a secondhand store where she collects throughout the week to bring clothes and kitchen items and toys for our children. These families become our families, and our families, not just the Y, but every single volunteer takes that, and I don't know how they all came together. It's a gift, it's magic, and I think that's why people stay, because they feel that magic and they feel that joy at the end of the day. But without our volunteers, our program wouldn't be as strong, and we wouldn't be able to keep serving and continue serving our families. Our food program is just a way to strengthen our community. It gets us through the door, and then we get to do so much more. So our volunteers are gold, they're priceless. I can't even begin to share the extent of what our volunteers do for us. But all I know is I'm grateful and thankful every day for each and every one of them.
Oh, yeah.
As always.
Yes. Yep. Thank you for that. So, Kim, my question is for you again. What impact have you seen the program have on individuals and families struggling with food insecurity in your community?
I think the big thing is the schools now see it's not all on them. We're making this community effort. They're looking at us because we've joined together. We can look at other things, school readiness, all that. But we've at least taken this one burden off them, that the teacher doesn't feel like, I have these students coming, where do I get the food, that type of thing. We're letting the school know we're out there with you and we're going to do this journey together. So I think that's probably the biggest impact that I see.
Perfect. Wow. Thank you.
And, if I can go back to what Gayle was saying and really give you kudos, Gayle, because you create that community. You lead and you empower people. And it is very powerful. So know that about you. You are an anti-hunger all-star in all of our eyes. And we wish we had more Gayles in the world. Quite honestly, you are so extraordinary. So thank you.
Well, I have to share with you, I have 3 team members that work alongside of me, and it is a group effort. Please, the credit doesn't all go to me. We have Christina and Carolyn and Sue, 3 team members that work alongside of me, and it is amazing. And I really have to say, I believe God put the team together, because each and every one brings a different strength, and together we make magic every day for our families.
I love
Very
it.
nice.
I have a question for Chris. Chris, you're a magnificent storyteller. The video that we've been playing in the background is the video that you helped produce for us, this incredible impact video about the work that happens at Brumby Elementary School. Can you tell us about what that experience was like? And as a result, were there any surprising aspects of creating the video?
Oh, sure. I was really excited to be able to tell this story. Once I became a board member, thanks to Gayle, I think once I got to know her and she learned my story, it's interesting. I think, sometimes in life you have an idea of where you want to go, but you don't realize it's happening until you look back. And it was like, taking that step to volunteer, it rooted me. It rooted me to a place of serving a community and storytelling. It was what I wanted to do when I resigned. And, it just getting into volunteering there, it just helped me get on that path in a beautiful way. And so it was, once the opportunity came about of hearing that, I heard from Becky Shipley they've been wanting to do a story about Brumby, and I was like, I can do it. I was like, I know this story. I got it. I got you. I was like, let me tell the story.
Yeah.
I said, I know this one. And it was, as Gayle was saying, I wanted the public, I wanted people to know what the Y is about. It was that it's more than a gym. And I feel like I hear that from a lot of people. And I know that that's kind of the slogan of we're more than a swim gym. But it was just, once you experience it and once you see it with your own eyes, and once you're there and you're out, and I know I just keep repeating myself, but it's it's just amazing. And I just was like, I want to be there and see it, and people need to see this. And it was just kind of one of those things of to see these people coming up, and the volunteers, and I would go, but that didn't come off the truck. That was just kind of my thing. I'm like, but that didn't come off the truck. And they're like, oh yeah, we got that from Publix. And oh yeah, I saw that at the Goodwill. And oh, I gathered this. And, and it would be Valentine's Day, and they would have all these treats for the kids for Valentine's Day. And they're giving away or there would be books there for a book sale, or, all these little special things that are given for the families that they're doing. And it's just all these special things for the community. And I just really wanted to tell that story. So being able to have that opportunity was pretty wonderful. So that was pretty great. So I think having the opportunity to do the interviews and pull the story together, it came together easily because I had a really good subject to do it and put it. And, when you have a good subject, it's kind of easy. It's easy to tell the story, and I'm just thrilled that it's got the longevity that it's had, and it's making the impact and going around. So I think it's wonderful that it's old. Yeah. So
it's become a real connection point as we reach out to people, as Kim talked about earlier with our Why It Matters campaign. This is the demonstration. This is the kind of programming that our Y members have on their community when they join the Y and when they decide to give to the Why It Matters campaign. Thank you.
Right. That's right.
Firmly agreed. It really changes the scope of how people view the Y. I started in the wellness department, so I have heard since day one that we are just a swim and gym. But since working in this capacity, I've learned so much more. And so telling my why, or, just telling the why story to others, it carries so much more when people have a firmer understanding of the full scope of what the why offers. This question is for all three of you. It's a little loaded. So please take your time. What are some of the most challenging aspects of this work? And what do you enjoy most? We're going to go with Gayle first.
All right. So the challenging is once you get to know the families and hear their needs, we might not be able to meet all their needs. We don't have the resources to do it, yet you love this family dearly. So that's the challenge when you know there's a need, and whether it's health or housing or something in the legal area, we just don't have all the resources yet in place to help. And we do call on other agencies, but believe it or not, funds are very limited, especially when you talk about housing. And then you asked the second part. Remember, I'm over 50. What was that second question?
What do you enjoy the most?
So the most is the engagement I get with the volunteers, with the families. I love making a difference on this earth, and I get to see that every single day in my job. And so that gives me so much joy when I go home and I reflect on how we helped a certain family, or how they shared that they can now pay their electricity because they're getting food, or we've helped them with clothing. Know that you're making a difference is probably the greatest joy that I have with my job.
Wow.
Kim?
Okay, I'd have to say, what I've learned through these years is the why listens. Gayle, I've come to Gayle with things that I've seen in the community, things that I feel like there's been a need. And guess what? The why listens, and they look for answers. I know, Gayle, there's a lot out there that we can't always solve, but you listen, and we try to find those ways to make answers. I think it's just coming up with what's the next step. We're doing food, and we're doing well with that. We're at our 2 schools that we're at. What's next? Is it supporting the teachers? Is it the readiness for the kids? But I know that there's going to be a listening ear. I know Gayle, and the why is going to be there, and we'll figure out our next steps.
Okay. And what do you enjoy the most?
What do you enjoy the most? Yeah, Kim, what's that?
Just, I'm at a place, I don't think the Y ever says no. It's the first time, they're just always open to listen. And, and with Gayle, it always starts with a lunch. You go with Gayle to lunch. And we come up with some good ideas. So it's always
yes,
good.
we do. We do.
You can accomplish a lot on a full stomach.
Yeah.
Right.
Accomplish a lot on a full stomach.
But it's always good. But we have a listening ear. A listening ear is there.
Yeah.
So.
And Chris.
I was thinking the one thing I didn't like the most is that 4:00 sun at Brumby.
Oh, wow.
It's like, it's pretty brutal. And I know, and like in July, we're pulled off that front line a couple of times. Like we have to switch out. Yeah, it gets pretty hot. But I mean, that's an amazing thing. I mean, to talk about. I think Gayle, you guys take off Thanksgiving week, and that's it.
Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas week. I mean, that was interesting to me too, is that there's no breaks, and it's rain or shine all the time. But yeah, that 4:00 sun in July when it's like 95, 99 degrees, it's a little brutal. You're out there. And what I love most, it's from a volunteering perspective, I love it most. It's an interesting flow of when it starts. It's almost like when it's that 2:30 moment and it starts and everyone's kind of getting into that motion of like, who's putting what into the car and what everyone's role is and everything. And then it's almost about 3:15 and it's like this well-oiled machine and the cars are coming in and it's those really busy days and all the people are coming in and everyone's there, like the really full days. And, you just see a lot of people needing to come through and it's busy. And, sometimes the food may be low and we're running into the pantry to get more food in and just everyone is served and you're just making sure. It's like, those are the days where it's powerful. And those are the good days.
Yeah. All right.
Something that struck me on days of service, if I can just chime in here, when we were at Green Acres Baptist Church, Gayle, on the Saturday of the days of service weekend, I was so struck by the volunteers that were there included many members of the community that were also being served. And that was absolutely beautiful to me.
Yeah.
You're working alongside the families and they want to help and they want to volunteer as well.
They do, and they show up every week at Green Acres. We could not do it without the community there. For some reason, we do not have as much Y volunteers. We have a steady, I would say 8, but we need more like 15 to 20 to serve that community every single week. Wow. And without the neighborhood, without the members of the church coming in, and I love it because it's so diverse. Half of our volunteers don't speak English, but yet we can communicate. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderful.
It really is.
Yeah. This has been a great conversation. So now we're at one of our favorite parts of the episode. As we do with every episode, we like to end our conversation by asking about your pathway story to the Y. In other words, how did you first get connected to the YMCA? Gayle, would you like to start for us?
Sure. Mine was, believe it or not, back in 1977. It was a work-study job for my college. And so I was going to school at Gannon University to be a teacher, K through 6. And at RY in Erie, Pennsylvania, we had a youth department. So that was my work-study job. That was back in 1977.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
you stayed with the Y from that moment on. That was the beginning, and you never
That was
never
the
left.
beginning, and I have done everything from aquatics director to youth sports director to executive director to director of environmental education to youth director. Believe it or not, I even taught aerobics. That was the hardest.
Wow.
I can't stay focused that long.
Incredible.
I absolutely love it. What about you, Kim?
My Y story started when I retired. I didn't have an earlier Y story. And I need to go back to my hometown and see where the Y is because I don't remember it. So my Y story started when I joined the gym and then asked to be joined the board. So it's evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Thank you for that. All right, Chris.
Yeah, and my grandfather was a big Y member. He was he was part of the UGA national championship team in the 40s. Yeah, go dogs. Throw that out there. So he, very much in athletics. He was the Rome high school football coach and principal, and very much in athletics. He'd get up and run the track and was on the basketball, team and all that at the Y. And so when I moved to Cobb County in 2001, I believe, and found out that McCleskey was just around the corner, I joined McCleskey. And I was like, oh, Pa would be so proud. I'm joining the Y. And so when I see the morning basketball team, I'm part of the early morning, the 5:30 group. So when I see all the basketball group playing every morning, I think of him and, of his basketball, stuff he used to do. He'd always be like, you can always do your sit-ups and push-ups every morning. He was all about the exercise. So I think of him. It's kind of like you can't not be part of the Y is, the philosophy in our family.
That's a great tagline. You can't not.
Yeah.
You
You can't not be part of the Y and be part of the community. Why not?
Why not?
It just rolls off the
thank
tongue,
you,
doesn't it?
Sharing. Yes.
Yeah, we may have to use that one. We may have to use that one.
Why not?
Why not?
We can't thank you guys enough for the work you do every week in Cobb County to support the community, but also your community of volunteers. And thank you for coming on this podcast. I have to admit, Gayle was reluctant at first. I've asked her before to join this podcast, and she declined. So
Yes,
I thank you. But I'm really glad you said yes. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
And
guys
if I
so
may
much
say
for
again,
joining us.
ladies, I want to give you your flowers as much as I possibly can. You all are examples of what's good in the world. You are
That's right.
examples
Thank
of
you.
what's good in the world. So
right.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to the Y Podcast. To continue the conversation or to find your closest Y, please connect with us at ymcaatlanta.org and sign up for our newsletter, Healthy Together.
Thank you.